welcome back to another video with me, Shruti. You're watching Living Our Ascension. So I've been guided to do this series of videos that are about, the process of awakening, the signs of awakening. And I'm sorry that, it's such a close-up. It's because everybody in my house is sleeping. So I kind of have to whisper and, keep this camera close. But you know how it is, like I've been hit with inspiration suddenly. I got all these downloads and I spent this evening just typing everything out, what I wanted to speak about for not just one but various videos. And I have to film it right now also because we have this construction that's going on, construction work, and during the daytime, that's all that you would hear then. So but hopefully it's fine. So the first video that I wanted to speak about, one of the first signs that you are coming into the process of awakening, your spiritual awakening, is that your dream state, it changes. And I wanted to speak a little bit about how it changes, and if you can identify these signs happening with you, then that's a sign of awakening. So the first thing is that what happens is that our dreams change. Like, you might have had dreams your whole life, and they will have a different characteristic. They'll have a different quality than the ones that you start having when your energy changes, when there's tantric energy that starts flowing through you, when there's light that is absorbed by the body, like when we start opening up to light, and you will find that the dream state, first of all, becomes multidimensional. What that means is that there'll be different qualities that you will have in your dreams. So for example, what I mean by that is that there can be these dreams where you witness yourself as the character. You might look different, or you might witness yourself as you are in your physical body right now. Or it might be a different character, but you kind of there's this knowing that this is me, this is a part of me, I've existed like this. So those are different aspects of ourselves. No matter how they look, they might look very weird. It might just be a form of energy, or it might be like an animal, a creature, or just a certain kind of a being, that we can't put our finger on it. But that's because it's not about the physical appearance so much. It can be, they can give you hints. Your dreams can give you hints about your past life as well, but usually it's just representing a certain quality. It's like it's what we're feeling about that quality. So everything happens in feelings, in this energetic signatures that are decoded with our heart space, and the mind just puts an image to that. So that's how the brain comprehends it. It has to comprehend it in some way, in a third dimensional sort of way, and then you get a certain image. But what's most important is the quality and what the remembrance that it brings in you. And sometimes these dreams are intense as well. In fact, when we begin with our process of awakening, most of these dreams are going to be more healing ones, where they can be quite intense as well. You might have had something like what you would call a nightmare all the time, and sometimes these would wake you up in the middle of the night as well. So again, these many of them are aspects of ourselves that are healing, and just the energy that we carry. And the important thing to remember is not to blame yourself for certain things that you find that are quote unquote negative, because this is actually a beautiful process of healing, of awakening, and the process of healing, of really remembering what you are, which is fully fulfilled and fully whole, which is how we always are. This is our eternal self. We are whole, but we've lived different aspects of that, when with that wholeness we move in different dimensions, and you're a multi-dimensional being. So there you've had a past, you have a present, and there's all these parallel realities that play out, as well. So it's a little bit more complex than the brain can sort of fathom our true nature. And so all of these intense dreams have to do with all of this negative perceptions and energies that we have created around knowing what we are. So there's nothing that can really harm you. I just really want anybody who's going through this process of awakening, who has just started it especially, or is finding it a little bit challenging, you have to know that that there's nothing that can really harm you. And remember, it's just energy trying to integrate. So even if there's something negative, you face something violent happening to you in a dream state, just be there. If your dreams have changed and they feel like they have this multi-dimensional aspect, and they start to feel very real as well, almost like penetrating into the third dimension and into your physical reality, that's not necessarily a bad thing. It just means that you are really healing from within, your DNA level. What this is, what the process of awakening is that you are changing at a DNA level, your cellular, it's a cellular change. So that means that your genes and everything, you're changing that. When you're born, you have inherited certain qualities from your parents, from your ancestors, and from your past as well. If you believe in past lives, the qualities that you carried, whatever you have done in your past, you've carried it here, in this incarnation as well. Even if you forgot it, it's present in your body, in your memory, in your DNA. The sort of negative effects of it that we feel are really just the fact that we are coming face to face with it, because that's the only way that healing actually happens, is that you see things as they are, how they've been. And when you see that, there's no more need for it, because it was just there for you to be witnessed. It was crying out to be witnessed, but it was suppressed. So let it all just bubble up to the surface, and you see it and you witness it without judgment. And then that's the process of integration. It's really beautiful. And having said that, I don't want to deny how challenging it can be. You can feel a little bit like you're going insane, especially if you don't have a support group, you don't have anybody in your life who believes in such things, or so I would really advise you to find a community that supports you as well during this time. But I don't want to go on and on about that, because I want to keep these videos short, on different subjects related to the signs of awakening. And so one of the qualities, like I mentioned, is that your dreams become multidimensional. That means it's a sign of awakening. They are healing, so they can be quite intense. They can bring up emotional issues from your past and your present. So even from your current incarnation, your present life, you might find that there's something happening in your life, like at work. You go to work and there's an issue that happens. You have an issue with a co-worker, and suddenly you have a dream when you sleep at night. It's symbolizing whatever happened there, and it's just showing you emotionally how you are feeling. It's bringing that to the surface. And again, that's not a bad thing, because what's happening is that you are becoming more aware of your energy, more aware of those things that used to be easy for you to suppress within you. You feel a negative emotion and you just suppress it. That's what all humans have been trained to do in our society. But you can no longer do that, and that is a sign of awakening. So one of the ways that it comes out is through the dream state, because it's kind of like all of the universe is basically conspiring to bring truth to you, because you are aligning with truth, you are aligning with light. So the dream state is one such way, one of the most powerful ways where it'll bubble to the surface like that as well. So they will bring up emotional issues from your past as well that you had completely forgotten about. Maybe you don't even remember a certain event that related to that, but you're having these intense dreams. And another thing to remember is that it's good to have you can go online and you can check for certain dream symbolisms that are universal. For example, if you see a snake in your dream, it symbolizes a certain thing, maybe a certain quality of secrecy, or the kundalini rising, meaning, and they all may apply. But more than anything, when you are tapping into these states of oneness, you're coming into yourself, into your truest self. and so that'll be very unique to you as well. So my suggestion would be just feel into how it feels. What does it feel like? You see a certain thing like a snake and you think, oh my god, I should be scared of this, but maybe what it's symbolizing is something else, and that is very unique for you as well. And it could be something sacred. All animals are sacred. So feel into how something makes you feel. That is the one thing that will become how you navigate the world from now on. And if this process has started for you, it won't even feel like a choice anymore. It's kind of like the universe has a certain language, and it's very personal to you. How the universe and you have your own language that is quite personal. The universe will keep bringing you signs and symbols of what's going on within you, and you have to kind of just learn to speak this language. And how you do that is by opening your heart and just feeling into how it feels. So let's see, what else do I need to share about the heightened dream state that we experience during our awakening. You might, like I said, the dreams will be more intense than usual. You will be waking up in the middle of the night as well. This happens with lots of people, especially, I forget what the hours are, but like in the middle of the night, it can be like 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m. And I remember when I was going through it for the first time, when this awakening was happening, I had no clue what was going on. But I would always wake between those hours, 2 a.m. and 4 a.m., something like that. I can't remember exactly, but it would be a pattern that I would see. Again, with another thing with this that helps is, of course, because it's kind of like your body's detoxing. So it's not just physical detoxing, which is important during this time, for you to check your diet and make it lighter, because everything about your essence, about your body, is about getting everything out that is no longer needed, bringing everything to the surface, all of the negative stuff as well, so that it can be seen for what it is. And then you'll be experiencing as well, these brilliant moments of light, and then these moments of darkness as well, and in the beginning it might feel like they're more negative than they are positive. And like I said, like I keep repeating, the reason for that is because of the healing that's going on. So we need to make space for the new, for the light, before it can fully penetrate. So that's why these and every time that you have that release somehow, whether it's kind of forced in a sense, or whether you voluntarily do that, which can accelerate the process, make it more less of a resistant, less of an experience of resistance, and rather more of surrender, which is always ideal. But be kind to yourself, and give yourself love. It's very important at this time. Do it at your own pace, but be honest with yourself. That's very important. So I guess, yeah. And then one more thing is that I used to personally experience is these gunshot moments. What happens is that the astral body, we're becoming more aware of our astral body. So we're in this third dimension, right? The physical experience that we have is in the third dimension. And above that, there's the fourth dimension, and the lower fourth dimension and the higher fourth dimension. You can divide it into that, because the lower fourth dimension carries those usually more negative experiences, things that we have suppressed. So there are these energetic things that we can't see, feel. We can feel it in the sense of from our heart, like the heart space, but they don't belong to the five senses that are that we typically speak about in science, for example. Something that you can see, taste, and touch, all of those here. But it's like the higher senses that open up, energetic senses. We realize that we are more than just this physical body. We have more than just these five senses. So these gunshot moments, when they happen, is like I used to hear like almost like a gunshot and wake up, like a bang sort of a thing in my ear. Part of that has to do with that your body is still it's becoming lighter, and it's able to experience. You are able to remember and experience when the travels that you do, or the dimensions that you travel through in your sleep, and that are happening all the time, actually, even as we are awake. Because we are more than, this is just one aspect of us, the aspect of us that is spirit is much larger. Even the soul is much larger, and has various dimensions to it. But why you experience that gunshot moment, that sound, usually it's because the body is still getting used to going in and out, in a way when you are almost like awake, or you are more conscious of it. Because when you're sleeping, you're doing that all the time. It's happening anyway, all the time, but you're not aware of it. But when the Merkaba begins to, our vehicle for ascension, and our vehicle for traveling through these different dimensions in a conscious way, in a way that we're able to make changes, and serve as well, at a later level. When that starts to happen, then the body's still you're becoming used to it. So it can be, although this is not the most accurate way to describe it, but it can feel like the body's like you're going up or into the higher dimensions when you sleep, and then when you come back, for example, it's like a crash landing, because you haven't yet learned properly how to fly and how to come back into the body and stuff. So it's just, the whole process is just a way of the soul merging back with the body seamlessly. And while that happens, there's going to be it's going to be less seamless in the beginning, because you're still getting used to it. Later on, it's a different experience. So these are some of the signs, of awakening, of the heightened dream state. So I hope that this video was helpful to you. I actually didn't want to make it this long, but it has become this long. I'll be making a series of videos like this on different signs of awakening that people experience. So please subscribe to this channel if you would like to hear more on this subject, as well as other subjects related to ascension. I also speak about more advanced subjects, but I was guided this time to cover the basics, because I've kind of, I have a channel and I'm speaking about ascension, but it's important to also address the basics, in case people are wondering. And I also have personal services, quite a few of them, on my blog, so you can work with me personally in order to, for this integration process to happen in a more seamless way. I have counseling services. You can have Skype sessions with me where I can address your questions as well. Also, please feel free to leave any comments below if you have any questions about your process, or you're confused about something. Just let me know, and please check out my blog for more. It'll be below this video, all of that information, and I'll see you very soon in the next video.